G'day, it is Matthew. I am going to show you how to make a AWS Lambda function in Rust. We'll start by creating the function here. We'll call it hello friend. This is the best way I found. I mean, there are many ways, but Amazon have released their own libraries, so it's really nice now. So you just don't need any of that. You need Amazon Linux 2. I'm going to leave all the advanced stuff alone. Let it create that while I create the Rust side. So we'll go cargo new hello friend, and we will need to add Lambda runtime, Tokyo, Saturday JSON, and Saturday itself. There's another Lambda runtime is this library, and it allows you to make everything smooth, and the context gives you information about the request ID and whatever else you need. There's another library which is Lambda HTTP, which if you're using your Lambda function as a client for API gateway, it gets you all this information, like you can go look at the request and say query string parameters and get them, but we're not using that today. So here's our empty machine, empty Lambda with sample stuff which we're going to overwrite. So we need to create a file called bootstrap. So where we are there, and did I load up code already? There it is. So main, we need, okay, let's start off. It's okay, we won't delete anything. It is a Tokyo main, and it's async, and it returns a result. If it's good, it returns nothing. If it's bad, it returns error. But which error, you may ask? The answer is Lambda runtime. Lambda runtime error. So far so good. We will write an actual handler, which we will call async fn handler, which will handle incoming requests. It will take an event of a type that we haven't invented yet, and it'll take context, which will be a lambda. You know what, I'll just type context and it will hopefully import it for me. Thank you, Rust and VS Code extensions. Okay, and it will return the same thing, a result, and the output will be a type that we invent called output, and the same error. And let me make this error be everywhere. There, we're all on the same page. And of course it's complaining because event doesn't exist and output doesn't exist, so let's create those now. Struct event. This is your input data, so we could, I'm just going to add first name, last name. You shouldn't have done that. String, last name. And because it will be coming in as JSON, we will automatically convert it, deserialize it into our own little structure. And it'll complain deserialize doesn't exist. I think we're just going to import it, use Saturday deserialize. And we're going to need to serialize as well, so might as well import it too. And the output can have whatever you want. And I'm going to add two things. One is the message, which is a string, and the second is the request ID, which comes from the context there, string. Okay, now we need to actually return. Okay, we'll do the actual code is going to be let message equals format first name, g'day, first name, last name, event.first name, event.last name. That's going to be our message, and then we're going to create an output object with message, and request ID will be context dot request ID. That's our result. I like how context is passed as we own it, so we're just moving the request ID out of it into our output, so no copying. Type annotations needed, but it literally says it right there. This needs to be deriving from serialized because it needs to become JSON. Let me just go to command line and see what I've done wrong. Output. So this becomes output. Everyone happy now? I've done it twice. Output. Oh, that's many places. Okay. Is there anyone else? No. Okay. Are we good? Good. Just warnings. Okay. Save. So just update. So these are never used, but they're used like literally right here. I just use them. Because handlers never used. So now we've got to pass handler to the Lambda runtime. So we go let handler equals Lambda runtime handler function handler. We're just wrapping it, and then we go Lambda runtime run. Take the handler function and dot await it, and pass on any errors that it throws up to our result, and that's literally it. Our code is now ready. Cargo check, cargo build, release. I'm going to time it. So once I will go through, while that's loading, compiling, I will go through what we're doing here. So this is how to write custom lambdas in the AWS docs. They pass in these environment variables, and one of them is the Lambda runtime API. And your code initializes and runs, and then when it wants to get work done, it will call this HTTP function runtime invocation next and say, give me the next event that I need to process, and that will just basically sit and pause until one is available. And here in the code, once it becomes available, we will get it here, and we don't have to worry about doing the actual call or anything. The Lambda runtime library and Tokyo do it all for us. We just handle the events, automatically convert it to a type of our choosing, and output and JSON to a type of our choosing, thanks to Serde. So it's done. So now we've got to copy the executable into a file called bootstrap. File bootstrap, see, it's just an executable. Then we've got to zip it up, and then we've got to load it up to Lambda. Upload from .zip, upload Lambda, save, and then we're going to create a test to make sure it works. We're going to pass in first name, Mr. Last name, Fantastic. Get rid of the last line, get rid of the comma, make it look pretty. Create needs an event, we'll just call it Mr. Fantastic. Create, run the test, and you see it took 1.09 milliseconds because maybe it's the first invocation. If we run it again, a little bit faster. Okay, so now there's a Lambda function running somewhere on AWS Cloud, calling that next method, just waiting for the next event to come in, and boom, there it is, 0.8 milliseconds. And g'day Mr. Fantastic, and it gives you the request ID. The request ID that AWS provides matches the one that we're giving it, so we're all doing well. What happens if we, how do I reconfigure the test? Configure test event. If we don't pass it first name, we call it firsty name. How will it build the event object? Well, the answer is it will blow up in your face. Error, runtime executed with status 1, runtime execution. It doesn't give me any error message, does it? That's horrible. There it is. Missing field, first name. Great, so now we know that we should have put the first name. Good stuff. Okay, that is the end of my presentation. You have now created a Lambda function in Rust with a bootstrap file. Thank you for watching.